Let's go to Hannah Newhouse for more.
Yeah, thanks, Brian Till. We talk about the intensity every time these drivers are on the racetrack. Well, it was especially intense for the 14 Vassar Sullivan Lexus. Friday afternoon, well, that team had a little bit of an off-road excursion with Ben Barnico. Fortunately for the team, though, able to repair that original car. A little late, but able to make it out for the qualifying efforts Friday afternoon. Usually the co-driver for Barnicoat is Jack Hawksworth. He's currently still recovering from some injuries, so the team has recruited powerhouse of Kamui Kobayashi for the co-driver this weekend here in the return to CTMP. So a lot of pressure on that team, but hey, Dave, Calvin, we know they've got capable drivers behind the wheel.
Now let's see how they might get there this afternoon, Hannah. We'll give you some WeatherTech keys to victory. Go ahead, Calvin.
Well, Tristan Hart and I talked earlier today, and you said the goal on the table wasn't even a moto win, but just to simply ride to 100% of your capability. Do you feel like in that moto you tapped it? Yeah, we definitely saw a change in the racetrack very quickly throughout qualifying. Originally, a lot of the guys were trying to run that top groove, especially coming off of 4, but you kind of saw them realize that that wasn't really the place to be. They slowly inched their exit off of 4. Ultimately, the track just slowed down.
Let's check in with Hannah on pit lane.
Yeah, Charlie and Kevin, these teams definitely expected this chaos. When I checked in with them prior to going green in this race, I said, how do you prepare for a latter half of a race where initially it was hot, it was slick, and now we are on wet conditions? And they said, you don't. You take a guess at it. So they were changing wing angles, they were changing springs, and of course they've got those wet tires on as well. And a lot of these guys said it's going to take a couple laps to get everything underneath them and really understand what the track conditions hold for them. And on top of that, a lot of these drivers are rookies when it comes to real wet conditions. So seniority may play into favor in these situations, but it's definitely going to take a couple laps for these drivers to be able to get back to their engineers and really make those calls. This racetrack is one of the most technical ones they've seen thus far on the tour. And the thing that's hanging them all up is the matrix right here. This is the first time that we've seen a matrix actually have a downhill slant. So therefore the guys, they can't just roll off the matrix if they have an issue. Unfortunately, they're going up and over the handlebars. Yeah, and well, the temperature here at Lime Rock, we've talked about it, it's a beautiful day, but there's definitely not a lot of airflow down here, this racetrack, you know, positioned in a valley area. So a lot of the drivers, well, they have these cool suits essentially that they're wearing up underneath their driver suit. As you can see here, these suits actually hook up into a cooling system, and it pumps that cool water all throughout their suit to keep them cool. So some guys, yes, they resort to the pouring of a cold water bottle down their suit in between stints and when they get out of the car. But for some, they have the luxury here of having, as you can see, the wiring that goes all the way through that. And it is, this temperature down here continues to rise. It's stagnant air. It's definitely humid. So Cal, when you get to a racetrack like this, where of course temperature is a factor, how does that affect you as a driver? And man, that race was exciting to watch in the TCRs. Mark Wilkins finished it off here. Was that a move that you had up your sleeve, or was that just an opportunity to capitalize to get the win done?
I didn't do it quick enough.
And we talked earlier in the weekend, 4 tires is going to be essential at some point with this high tire deg. When do you see that playing in now that you've only taken the 2 laps?
We'll find out.
Little strategy going to come into play there for the 56. Parker, we just saw the 57 Windward Mercedes come in a little bit ago. A driver change took place. Ward out, Philip Ellison. We're standing here with Russell Ward. When I talked to you earlier in the weekend, you said that this car performed well in high-speed areas, struggled in those low-speed areas. What's the evaluation been so far now that you've been able to make these race trim runs? And we look forward to watching him race both those races. But if you weren't able to join us, it was 3 playoff races that led us to tonight for the season finale. We narrowed the field down to 4 championship contenders. So let's take a look at how we got here. But you can see here just the difference in the racetrack surface. I mean, they've got it completely packed down. You can't even pull any of this up. It's almost like clay, to where you can pick it up and pull it in a ball here and ball it up. I mean, they've got the perfect amount of moisture in this. And that, like we said, that creates grip. So there's going to be a ton of grip. These guys are going to find it all over the racetrack.